But I guess that brings us to Cassandra.
Yeah.
Or is it Cassandra?
Is it Cassandra or Cassandra?
So
you used to she used to come on your show, correct?
She came on my show a couple times. Like I said, we've known each other since she had 1,200 followers. The first time I ever met Cassandra, or ever remember seeing Cassandra, she had a fundraiser going. She was trying to sell tattoo space on her body.
I remember that.
I think I do remember that.
To raise $1,200, her stuff was in storage and it was going to get thrown out or whatever it was. And so, yeah, she was going to sell tattoo space on her body.
Did she end up doing it?
I can't remember because, quite frankly, she was a fucking nobody for the longest time. What really put her on the map was, what was that white guy's name that got beat by the police, Kelly Thomas or whatnot?
Was it in Arizona?
I know. She must have lived by it somewhere in Southern California. Because that's when we started calling her the Chalkener. Because if you remember, she went down there and live streamed. And this was back when, like Tachy said, we were all anonymous back then. So anybody that showed their face was kind of pushed forward, you know. And she was more than willing to show her face. And she went down to this place day after day after day and chalked all over the fucking sidewalks. And then that got her some heat. So she started just chalking up the whole South California, every fucking cause and anything she could think of, to where she could go chalk up the sidewalk in front of whatever happened, whatever.
Yeah, that was her thing, chalking it.
She'd chalk it up.
Chalk is not a crime or something like that.
Yeah. So they just grabbed bags of chalk or whatever the fuck it was and go right all over the sidewalk in front of the latest outrage of the day. And she got quite a little bit of heat off of that. And she started to become a leftist, the face, a puppet of, we didn't know what it was called then. It wasn't Black Lives Matter then.
It was Occupy, right?
It was police the police.
Well, that's what her shirt says here.
Yeah, that's what they would say, police the police, cop watch.
So when I say, like, I've seen her when she did her storage tattoo thing. And then every once in a while you would see her pop up with Derek Lawstutter, KY Anonymous, Black Block. She did Black Block shit for a while with the Just Sicko. I don't know if you remember the meth mouth Just Sicko. Fucking, he was basically a homeless person in San Francisco, protester. So she ran around with him protesting, but it never amounted to anything. She was still, 2,500 follower, dumbass, square jawed Cassandra. This was pre-plastic surgery Cassandra. Yeah.
Now, is this, because I remember she had one of those large anonymous accounts. Is this still going before that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she did. It was Anon Ops, maybe?
And quite frankly, there were a lot of her running around at the time.
Yeah.
Just like there's a lot of MAGA cunts, whatever you want to call them, working their grift on that. She was always working the grift. And there was a bunch of them. Sarah Nicole was one of them. They had a whole, I can't even remember what they called themselves, the pink whatever, but there was a ton of Cassandras running around. She wasn't really that notable until the chalkening. And so what happened was she started touring the country with this all cops are bastards thing. Okay. And at the same time, DeRay McKesson started appearing, doing the same thing.
Oh,
I believe at some point that they chose him. It was almost like they were running them both around the circuit to see which got more attention or whatever it was. And then at some point they chose DeRay as the
spokesperson. There was a picture of them together, I think. Didn't you send me one? They were. We'll go through all these business. Yeah.
And you notice how she looks different in every picture.
Yeah, she's got her angles down for sure.
So I knew her. I had her on my show a couple times because I used to have KY Anonymous on. I don't know if you know who Derek Lawson.
Yeah. Yep.
The stupid Bill Rapes guy. We and him were pretty close. We fought and made up and battled, and so we would go at it on the show, and then later on we were okay on a different episode. But he also had a close relationship with Cassandra Fairbanks, and so he would come make allegations and of their relationships, and I used that to get her to come on to defend herself. But
Oh, okay.
I
didn't know that there was allegations about them.
Oh yeah, I got that on audio somewhere where he admits that they Skype fapped. That's what
and if anyone listening doesn't know about KY Anonymous, just Google KY Anonymous meme. You'll find patches.
Steubenville.
He was in Rolling Stone and what was it? Operation Row Red or something where he actually what was it? He had actually put a rape victim's info out, claiming anonymous. Yeah.
No, what happened was his buddy guessed the password to the Steubenville website, and he built this whole hacker fucking persona off of that. Okay. Well, in the process, he went on every show he could find, mine, Roseanne Bars, all kinds of shows, and spilled anybody who would ask him to call on, essentially. And he would spill the beans and admit to federal fucking crimes on these podcasts. I mean, I don't know that he hacked anything, but accessing the illegally in itself is a fucking felony. And so eventually he raised a ton of money on it. I held his ass to the fire. I had him on there as like, you fucking prick, you raised like $75,000 and it's 3 years and you've never been charged, you know? And sure enough, like I was at fucking years later, out of nowhere, the fucking FBI come and arrested his ass. He's in prison today over that shit.
He is still in prison, isn't he?
I think he got out. I'm not sure, but he cannot go anywhere near the fucking anywhere near it.
We won't see him on Twitter again.
The byline was that this is what Rolling Stone picked up on, was that Anonymous and the group Anonymous exposed a rape. And so, and I asked him when he was on the show, like, how did you were a fucking hero and you didn't parlay that into anything. I mean, you could have had a job anywhere, in anything tech related that you wanted. And he ended up just, I don't know if you heard, but before we went to prison, he was a chatterbait.
I remember that.
Chatterbait. I had him on to discuss his feelings about that. I mean, just a long, sad way down.
Wait, chatterbait, isn't that the like
it was an OnlyFans.
An OnlyFans, yeah. So the old version.
Yeah, he was a male chatterbait.
Oh boy, it's rough.
Yeah,
it was like you remember Boogie Nights when he's like blowing in the car for $5 or whatever it was. That's what it came down to. But how did you develop to be in your bonnet about Cassandra? Because I behind the scenes that when you were
I don't really have a reason other than this reason anybody does is that I've kind of seen her grifting on both sides of the fence, which I don't, a lot of people change their political views over time. That doesn't really bother me. It doesn't bother me at all, actually. It's just, I think the grifting, I was actually going to pull up, let me get to it here. Her fundraiser, this was the more recent fundraiser, right? Move Cassandra Fairbanks to a safe house.
Okay, this is what blows. Okay, you gotta remember when I was on Twitter, she was off. Can you? My mic sounds.
Yeah, I think you're echoing.
Sounds great.
How's it now?
Yeah,
is it better?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, when I was on Twitter with all that, she was all BLM, Ferguson riots, fuck the police, and then I left Twitter for 2 or 3 years. And when I came back, she was totally different.
Yeah, she she went completely MAGA.
Well, here's what you find out. Now I know I'm fully aware how stalkerish it sounds to say that I know more about her than anybody else on the internet. But there's a reason behind it. Okay. Because when you dig into it, you find out. Because I got upset with her because she was marching against Trump. She didn't fucking slowly change, none of that. And then one day, boom. And it happened to be as soon as the fucking primaries were decided, as soon as it was, going to come down to election time. And when you look into her, what you find out is she's connected. So we found out she used to write for Russia Today. Okay. I don't know if you knew that.
I did.
Sputnik. Okay. There was a man who owned Sputnik who was allegedly paying for her daughter's private schooling to the tune of $15,000 a semester. Okay. And then when you look into her new employer, the Jim Hoft, he's also got a lot of connections. Lucian Wintrich, the guy that he hired on there, was the person that was seen bathing in blood with Milo Yiannopoulos. You know,
there was somebody saying, "Wait, that happened."
You don't remember the big photo shoot of Milo Yiannopoulos?
I don't think I saw that. No, I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, keep going.
At the time, a friend of his named Lucian Wintrich ran a group called Twinks for Trump.
I kind of remember that. Yeah.
And they all took this shoot, bathed in blood and all this very bizarre thing. And shortly after that is when Lucian Wintrich began working for Jim Hoft, who's also homosexual. Okay. And there's rumors there that he's essentially Jim's boy toy, you know, and they're all connected. There it is. There it is.
Yep.
Yeah. And it makes sense because she worked for every outlet you can think of. Teen Vogue.
Didn't she have a connection to Daily Dot or Vice or something?
All of them. Big league politics. And here's the thing, nothing for nothing. You notice she works for all these places. Where's the fucking writing? And then you read when she does do some writing, it's very sophomoric. It sounds something like a high schooler would write.
Is it that bad? I haven't read a lot of her.
Here's what she seems to get a job at a publication, online magazine, whatever it is. She puts out an article and then nothing for 18 months, 12 months, whatever it is. And then suddenly she works for a different publication, you know?
Well, you mentioned that. Do you remember Rep Dan?
Yeah.
You remember Rep Dan? Why is my friggin' hold on, my thing's echoing again?
Yeah, you are echoing a little bit.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I had talked to, before Rep Dan passed away, I had talked to him and I remember I was like, what's this? Why does everyone hate her all of a sudden? And he said, the theory is that she's actually an undercover agent. Like she was being paid by the government to stir things up in protest. Had you heard anything about that?
I've heard that theory.
She moved to Washington, D.C. allegedly to cover politics for, I can't remember Jim Hoft's. It's that blog with Jim Hoft. I can't remember his name, but Gateway Pundit. Okay. And occasionally an article comes out with her name on it. But why Washington, D.C.? You know, who's paying for that shit? And this whole, and Ezra Levant threw this fundraiser for her. Everything that guy's connected to is shady. So why is he going out of this way for some fucking blogger who writes an article
once a year?
And it's always just, it's like, say a video comes out and she'll just be describing the video, and it could have been written by anybody. It's not this, prose of her inner thoughts or her hot take on the situation. It's just describing a video that popped up on the internet.
How does she make a living? Is it from her journalism, or does she do something else?
Less than a year ago, I seen her. What was it? Oh, it may have been. I don't know. Because here's the thing: you go at her, and it just doesn't fucking do any good. I remember I saved up. I had her Vine of her actually burning the flag and shit. I had it all saved. And the night her and Cernovich threw that big deplorable, they hashtag deplorable. So I went through the hashtag and I started saying, hey, go find this lady. This is the lady burning your flag. And I started posting all those screenshots. And that was the biggest hit I got on her. I know she was very perturbed about it because she tweeted a couple times about it, but that was all I got of it. It's the same thing as Sean King. People just seem to, the old saying, it's easier to fool someone than to convince them they've been fooled.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with Sean King. If you go back with Sean King, every fucking 18 months for literally 15 years, he hosts a big charity fundraiser for some tragic event that's happened. Could be race related, could not be, could be Haiti earthquake or anything. And then he never pays out. And you can lay it all out to his followers. And this was before you could get suspended. You could spend, weeks replying to every one of his tweets with facts and evidence. And these fucking idiots would shout you down and, call you.
He got suspended?
No, I said before you could get suspended. Oh. So every time Sean used to tweet, I would post screenshots of all his former scams. Very, very stalkerish, very much like the people that stalk Trump.
Now that NFAC, not fucking around coalition, they actually called him out. It's pretty funny, but no one caught it because no one had heard of them yet. But they called him out.
I believe he's connected too. They just let him hang around for whatever reason. And the people that support him just never learn. It's the same with Cassandra. That you'll never convince. They love her. They love the story of a leftist turning right. That's what they really love. And I remember when I was having her on the show, I was talking with Bree, the co-host at the time. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, we're having her on here and we're letting her tell her story about how she changed from the left to the right. We both know that it's complete bullshit. But at the time, we wanted Trump to win. So, it's like we were laughing behind the scenes like, what a fucking cunt. Because she's just a shape-shifting, soulless, gutless. Like, there used to be a parody account. I don't know if you remember it, Tachy, of anybody with over 10,000 followers. Cassandra would sniff their ass out. Like, if any kind of heat, she's like, I guess what they would have called a gold digger 20 years ago. But man, she's a roadie. What do you call those? Groupie. She can sniff it out. She's there. You remember the dancing man, Tachy? Do you remember the fat dancing man that she made?
Oh yeah, I remember. That was a big scandal.
No. It was some fat guy posted a video of himself dancing, and everybody made fun of him. So she got Pharrell, the rapper, to like host a party with the fat guy, and it was a big deal. It was like sponsored by fucking MTV or some shit. I don't remember, but it was a big deal.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Didn't something go wrong with that, or was it just everyone was like trying to point out the hypocrisy in her actions or something?
Well, Batman
dancing. Is this him?
Back then, it was funny to me. I think this was before she became a chalker. It was just like, look at this bitch. She's just everything is me. She is what she is. I mean, you can't really be mad at her. She just is what she is. You just know what she is.
It was, disgusting bullying.
After seeing the offensive post, Twitter user Cassandra Fairbanks decided to try and find the man, launching a Dancing Man hashtag. It turns out Sean lives in London, and he's launched a Twitter account of his own, Dancing Man Found, to thank his many supporters.
What was his response to the campaign?
Maybe the chat can tell me if this audio is coming through.
He's been wonderful. He said he's been smiling and laughing all day.
It is on YouTube, but not on yours.
Not on yours.
There's been so many. It's just been an outpouring of support and love and kindness. It's the complete opposite of what this person attempted to accomplish with their terrible post.
Now Fairbanks and others have raised more than $35,000 to fund the dance party of a lifetime, with more than 1,700 women pledging to attend an offer from Moby to DJ at the event for free.
It was like sponsored by Pepsi.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's crazy.
But it was funny back then because she was just one of us. She was just a fucking somehow wormed her way in to make that thing all about herself. And the whole ACAB thing was, it wasn't even her really starting that. It was becoming a thing, so, but I did that's when I first started to dislike her, because she was responsible for the foundation of Black Lives Matter. I mean, eventually it became D-Ray and Sean after her, and she was kind of shoved to the side, but she started, she drew a lot of people into that. She was the first one that was making the rounds with the fucking chalk and everything. And that was causing a lot of problems in our society. And I just, it was one thing when you're pretending you care about a fat guy.
So she she's basically half responsible for Black Lives Matter, her and DeRay. And here she is on Twitter. Black Lives Matter activist who attempted. So she's very anti-Black Lives Matter now.
There was a thing where she was getting attention from bigger accounts when she made her big change to the right. I'm a big Trumpster now. And it was like the people that like us who had been there since the fucking beginning, the people that were getting the eggs thrown at them and getting fired from their jobs for posting on Facebook that they supported Trump. They weren't getting recognized. But here's this fucking tart who's essentially lying, because she read the writing on the wall. She knew her fucking role was done in Black Lives Matter. There was not going to be no prominent role for a white girl in Black Lives Matter. Remember, they had D-Ray and Sean and a fat black girl. I can't remember her name. Johnetta.
Oh, yeah.
She disappeared. But, I researched all three of them intensely, too, because I became the Black Lives Matter guy after that one episode. But what I found out was D-Ray and that girl, Johnetta, actually, they were, in my opinion, warped, but they were sincere. They really believed their shit. Sean King did not. He makes Cassandra look like fucking Virgin Mary because he is soulless. And I think that's why they keep him around. I think they recognize something in him. He is completely without any morals or character, or he has no, there's nothing he won't do or won't say, or, the guy got on national TV and basically said his mom whored around on his dad, and that's how he's half black, but you can't really tell, and whatever the fuck it is.
But he's not. He's not half black.
He's actually from a city near mine. I didn't know. He's from Kentucky. He's from a mid-sized town in Kentucky. I didn't know that.
Yeah, in his first foray was became a minister. This is a true story. So Sean King became a minister, and he was underneath some other guy at this giant church. And he essentially, this is when he was like 20 or some shit. Essentially, at one point, he accused the guy, his mentor, of racism. Okay. And the guy got kicked out of his own fucking church, and then Sean took the church over. And that was when he first started realizing the power in donations. Okay. Mm. He has lived off donations for 2.5 decades.
Oh, wow.
Lived well, too.
During the, I think it was the Ferguson riots, I was watching the live streams because, live streaming wasn't as abundant as it is now. It was not just anyone would run out and live stream.
Right.
And I remember him vouching for certain media. They didn't want the media there, and he would say, he was the word. He would tell them, no, they're cool, and he had some type of power to say who stayed and who didn't. And I'm just like, he's white. What are y'all doing? Y'all are letting him tell you who can stay and who can't. He's nobody. He's not even from there.
And that's what I learned after a while is those people, they want to believe that. It's the same thing with KY Anonymous. How hard I had a time of convincing people Derek can't hack his way out of a paper fucking bag.
He literally guessed a password.
Right. No, he didn't even.
His friend.
Smart enough not to brag about it. And so they were together when it happened. But people liked that story of an anonymous hacker exposing rapists. It's like Batman, it's like trying to convince them that fucking Batman ain't real when they, when they got evidence he is, And so I still to this day don't hate Cassandra. I just recognize her for what she is. I did like I'm going to be honest with you. I like the fundraiser. You know why? Because it tells me that she's having financial problems, which I knew because she's not as good looking as she portrays. And rumor on the street is that she's been getting pretty hefty.
Really?
And,
that's the rumor.
Russian oligarchs, they don't really pay for, expanding waistlines, let's say.
Wow.
And
now explain the fundraiser. What's happening with
So
needs the money.
Basically, she was living, I'll just read this. Cassandra Fairbanks is a mom and journalist in Washington, D.C. After she criticized the riots, she was deluged. Is that a word? Deluged? Deluged by death threats, and her home address was published by Antifa. Rioters showed up at her house, pounding on the windows and firing guns and fireworks at her home. Was it guns or fireworks? She fled her house with her daughter and pets and is now looking for a new safe place. She was just on the run. Poor
It sounds like sugar daddy. I wish.
Yeah, all funds will be sent to her for relocating to a safe place. She's approved this fundraiser. $25,000, not bad.
But I mean, the comedy in that is she used to be like pro Antifa and Black Lives Matter. That's what
she would have been, one of those protesters out in front of her house.
Let me tell you something. Do you remember when she got maced in Ferguson? And
yes.
Went on about it for 3 months, and there was nothing but 700 pictures of it. And it was like, you'd have thought if a fucking protester got within 20 miles of her fucking house, we would know all about it. We'd have video. She'd be laying on the ground, assaulted. This is her game. This is her foray. And not one picture, not one corroborating witness. I know what's going on here is sugar daddy's cut her off and she's at her wit's end.
Well, she made $25,000. That's not a bad chunk of change.
Maybe it's another thing is too. Maybe it's she knows things. Okay. She knows things that some people might not want out there. And so this is their way of laundering a little bit of cash to keep her quiet. Possibly. Who knows?
Wow. Well, that's an interesting shift of here's another one. Palestine to Anaheim. All cops are bastards. So, but now she's very pro-blue, which is fine. Like I said, a lot of people have changed their opinions over the years, but not a lot of people have profited or
7 times.
Yeah.
She's been literally everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And to change your opinions based on what seems to be getting the most retweets at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever will get her the most internet attention today. Because when that's what you make your living off of, it's important,
I'm still a little confused at how she makes her living, though.
I told you,
it's not.
Somebody was putting her fucking bills.
Yeah.
It's like the guy that was paying. I wish Misty was here or I'd DM there because she gave me a name of the guy that was paying $15,000 a semester for her daughter to go to private school. And this guy is a part owner of Sputnik and RT Today. And I'm telling you, her writing isn't even good. It's not fucking horrible, I guess, but there's no reason for her to be hired at all these outlets and then never provide any work. I don't ever see it.
Yeah, she's a spokesperson more than a writer for a political movement.
Show some of her newer pictures to change.
See a lot of them.
Some of her newer pictures from recently. Let's see. Let me look it up here. Cassandra.
You type in her name, you're gonna get nothing but.
If her oops. I was trying to look over.
She went out after she got maced and she went out and got a sign. I forget what it said.
I should be careful when I'm searching here.
Are you not allowed to show nudity?
I don't know. Probably that would count as some kind of revenge.
She does have nudes though.
But I mean, Google is, what's a more recent? Well, here's. Oh, the social media star who flipped to Trump. Yeah, this was on BBC, huh?
Yeah, this is when she was on my show. She was making the rounds. It was a big, big deal.
And one sign of the unusual nature of this year's U.S. presidential election, an activist and social media star they don't call her a journalist, has undergone a remarkable political transformation from a hero on the left to a writer for a Russian state-funded news agency who supports Donald Trump. There you go. Remember Dancing Man? They talk about Dancing Man. He became one of the biggest internet sensations.
Put in CassandraRules, Cassandra Fairbanks Sputnik.
Let's see here.
That's where that's where things
I got
really
a better browser.
That's when it started. And there's another thing about her. You fucking cross her and you can kiss your Twitter account goodbye.
Yeah, what am I looking up? Cassandra.
There's something about her, like, for years, if you piss her off, it used to be really bad. Like Cassandra Fairbanks Sputnik.
What am I looking for specifically?
Wow. Go back to web. Go to web. There's another guy, Lee Stranahan. He ain't fucking standard. Sputnik International. Yeah. Roll for Sputnik News and War. Choker.
Okay, there's her.
Sophomore ass, boring.
So she hasn't written for Sputnik for a little while.
Wrote for Teen Vogue. Big League Politics.
Oh, there you go. She has a recent publication here. Militant leftist attempts to kill conservative activists after memorial for Trump supporter murdered by Portland Antifa. That is a bit of a long title.
I was gonna say that's too many words.
That's a lot of words in a title. Yeah.
It's like a bunch of words just put together.
She wasn't counting on anyone actually clicking it. A member of the Proud Boys, I did hear about this. A member of the Proud Boys is hospitalized with severe injuries from being hit by a car after attending a memorial for Aaron J. Danielson, the President Donald Trump supporter who was murdered by Antifa in Portland. Interesting. So, but yeah, is this what we're looking for? Is just her more recent
I haven't looked at her in a long time. I kind of made my decision that, there's a sucker born every minute, and if you're gonna fall for her,
put in Cassandra Fairbanks mace meme.
Pepper spray
meme.
You got pepper sprayed. Oh boy. She took pictures of her face all wet and shiny.
Well,
and so you can imagine.
I'm disappointed. There's nothing coming up.
I know Google might have helped her out on this one.
You're on Bing, aren't you?
Yeah.
There it is down there in the left corner.
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh man, her face is all swollen. So she got it right in the face, huh?
Oh yeah, she the shiny wet face.
No, I'm thinking of the one where she poured the milk and everybody turned it into.
I forgot about that.
She poured milk.
Yeah.
Are these more recent pictures of her?
I don't know.
Well, she's not looking too terrible if that's recent. She looks all right.
Does she?
Is this the was that the fat man?
Yeah. So somebody posted a video of him dancing and made fun of him, and somehow it became about her. I don't